The Battle of Mactan, Cebu, Philippines, April 27th, 1521. Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Cruzy's History, and today I am explaining what transpired at the Battle of Mactan and the results of the skirmish. Background: Spain and Ferdinand Magellan. In the early 14th century, Spain had established a strong and rich empire in the New World, and a Portuguese explorer named Ferdinand Magellan was interested in finding a western sea route to the Spice Lands for an abundant amount of wealth and glory for Spain. Magellan's journey. On August 10, 1519, Magellan's expedition was funded by King Charles I of Spain, and with authorization, Magellan set sail with 270 men and 5 ships: the Trinidad, the San Antonio, the Victoria, the Concepcion, and the Santiago, through the Strait of Magellan. After 38 days through the dangerous narrow straits that bears his name, the Strait of Magellan, Magellan and his crew lost the San Antonio and the Santiago. Santiago was destroyed by strong winds and currents. Fortunately, the crew on board survived. The San Antonio, which failed to rejoin the rest of the group, reversed course and sailed back to Spain. After Magellan and his fleet emerged from the straits, they had reached the unknown Pacific Ocean. Magellan was astonished from how calm the ocean waves were compared to the Atlantic's rough tides, and so he named the body of water Mar Pacifico, or Peaceful Sea. Magellan and the Pacific Islands. Magellan and his fellow explorers presumed that the body of water separating Asia and the New World was only a small sea. However, the Pacific Ocean was one of the largest oceans they would have to cross. Not expecting the long, arduous journey, the crew had dwindled in supplies, and the majority of the men suffered from scurvy and died from malnourishment. Antonio Pigafetta, who documented the expedition, described the experience. "We only ate old biscuit reduced to powder and full of grubs, and stinking of dirt which the rats had made on it when eating the good biscuit, and we drank water that was yellow and stinky." Pigafetta reported that 19 died, and 25 or 30 fell ill to diverse sicknesses. Guam. 99 days later, after crossing the tranquil waters, Magellan and his weary-starved crew landed on the island of Guam in the Mariana Islands. The fleet was welcomed by the Chamorro people on canoes, who had a different viewpoint of ownership. As a result, the native inhabitants started to steal supplies from the Spanish galleons. Magellan fired a cannon shot, which scared the Chamorros back into the dense jungles with the items they had stolen. Eventually, Magellan was able to restock on provisions, and he obtained fresh fruit and vegetables in return for the precious metal, iron. Magellan and his crew remembered this place as Isla de las Ladrones, or the Island of Thieves. Landing in the Philippines. Magellan and his 3 remaining ships landed on the uninhabited Homanhon Island, where the crew gathered fresh fruit and water and rested for the upcoming departure. A few days later, the fleet came ashore on the island of Limasawa. On the island, Magellan exchanged gifts with the locals, including gold and porcelain. The fleet was also introduced to the island leader, Rajah Kolambu. On Easter Day, March 21st, Magellan and 50 of his men held a Catholic Mass and attempted to convert the islanders to Christianity. Many of the islanders were interested in the religion and joined the ceremony. Ensuing the ceremony, Magellan placed a cross on the highest hill and claimed the Philippines, which he named St. Lazarus Islands, as possession of Spain. Before the Battle of Mactan. Magellan was eager to Christianize the majority of the islanders, and so the explorers landed on the island of Cebu and converted a total of 2,500 islanders and chieftains. Ferdinand Magellan was told by the local leaders that a group of islanders on the island of Mactan, led by leader Lapu-Lapu, resisted Christian conversion. Magellan ordered the council on April 26th that he would bring an armed attack to the Mactan resistance. The Battle of Mactan. Magellan and his soldiers had arrived at Mactan Island, and Magellan was so confident about destroying Lapu-Lapu's forces, he ordered his Cebu warrior allies to merely watch him and his men fight. Magellan sent a group of men to persuade Lapu's forces to back down, but Lapu-Lapu refused, and so on April 26, Magellan informed his men that he would bring armed forces to subdue the enemy. The attack, April 27th, 1521. Magellan and his confident men waited until morning to attack the enemy. Magellan had assembled 49 of his men, equipped with crossbows, swords, and harquebuses, compared to 1,500 Mactan warriors who vastly outnumbered the Spanish. Despite having superior cannon weaponry, Magellan had to anchor his ships far away from shore because of the rocky outcroppings on the beach, which in turn was a major disadvantage. Antonio Pigafetta described the beginning of the battle. When morning came, 49 of us leaped into the water up to our thighs. When we reached land, the natives had formed in 3 divisions to the number of more than 1,500 persons. Magellan and his poorly organized unit of troops heard screams and battle cries from the warriors and were immediately attacked by the natives with a barrage of iron-tipped spears and fire-hardened sticks. The nimble warriors were able to overpower the Spanish in close-quarters combat. The Spanish guns proved to be useless from faraway range and dealt little to no damage to the battle-hardened warriors. The Mactan warriors proceeded to charge forward and fire countless arrows at the lower bodies of the Spanish soldiers, which was a devastating effect. Magellan sent some of his men to burn down the natives' houses, but that only made them furious. Arrows raining down from the sky, Magellan was punctured by a poisoned arrow in the right leg and was overwhelmed by the warriors. Magellan was fatally stabbed from the surrounding mob until he lay face down in the water. In frightened panic that their captain had been effectively slain, Pigafetta and few weakened soldiers retreated to the boats and managed to escape with their lives. Lapu-Lapu and his warriors were able to defend against the foreign invaders. As for the remaining Spanish crew, Juan Sebastian Elcano took command of the last remaining ship, the Victoria, and made it back to Spain with only 18 men out of the original 270. And Magellan was credited for being the first person to circumnavigate the world. As of today, Lapu-Lapu is considered a hero in the Philippines, and on April 27, it is recognized as Lapu-Lapu Day. Thanks for watching.